Is Season of Discovery the Classic Plus the community was waiting for? Short answer is no. The long answer, this video. So to get started, we need to answer this question. What is actually Classic Plus? In reality, there is no definition of what Classic Plus is because Classic Plus don't exist yet. All we have is our ideas of the ideal Classic Plus. A lot of you guys would love to have new spells. Some of you guys would love to have just new content in the world, like dungeons and raids. And some others are satisfied with just buffing the specs that were trash back in Classic. Making them viable was already enough to them. And as you can see, there are tons of ideas of what Classic Plus could be. However, there is no solid idea of what really Classic Plus is. And I think that taking the private server that has the most success among the community is a good starting point for us to see what the community really wants in Classic Plus, and of course, see the great things that they did, so at the end we can discuss a little bit better what is the real Classic Plus experience the community really wants. And which server did the best Classic Plus experience so far? Turtle Wow. So Turtle Wow is this huge private server which delivers a great Classic Plus experience by taking all the content we already have in Classic WoW and improving it in various ways. And the first one we will talk about here is new content. Turtle WoW added so much new content that a lot of them I've never even thought about. They added Karazhan in the form of lower Karazhan halls and Karazhan crypts. They added Emerald Sanctum, Stormwind Vault, and even Gilneas City. And along with new content, of course, we have new loot. They added a ton of new recipes for tailoring, for blacksmithing. There are so many new things that you can do and craft with your professions that makes you really want to level up a profession, because you will be able to craft these new items, and these new items are very powerful. And they did a lot of changes to PvP as well. They added a new battleground, a 3v3 arena, and even war mode, which makes you level up faster, making you PvP flagged all the time. So if you like world PvPing while leveling, there you go. However, the most important thing that Turtle WoW did, in my opinion, is in the classes. Turtle WoW took all the specs in Classic that were trash and made them viable. Not optimal, viable. I will use Mage as an example because I played Mage back in Classic. In the entirety of my leveling experience, I've never tried Arcane Mage. There is no reason for you to spec Deep Arcane in Classic WoW. It's just that bad. Arcane uses a lot of mana and you cast 2 or 3 arcane missiles and you're almost out of mana. It's so bad that in TBC, which was the next expansion, they made Arcane Mages the strongest class in the game. Because back in Classic, why would you cast arcane missiles? Like really? Why would you? The only scenario it could be useful was in PvP if you were playing Pyro-Mage, which by the way was great spec to play in PvP. So in Turtle WoW, they added a lot of new features to make Arcane Mages a viable spec, like adding 2 new talents, which were Brilliance Aura and Arcane Potency, and changing Improved Arcane Explosion to Arcane Impact. That way, Turtle WoW made Arcane Missiles a very viable spec, scaling a lot better with Critical Strike and Critical Strike damage, as well as giving us Brilliance Aura to make us have a lot more mana regeneration, so we don't go wound after casting like 3 or 4 arcane missiles. And I think this approach that Turtle WoW did is exactly what the community wanted. What the community wanted is not to have a ton of new features that make us feel like Exodia from other expansions in Classic. What the community wanted is to make the specs that were trash back in the day viable. Like, I want to play Arcane and feel good playing it. I want to play Boomkin and do a ton of damage without getting wounded. I want to play Red Paladin. Things like that. And why I'm making emphasis on it? When we see what Blizzard is trying to do with Season of Discovery, instead of improving the content that already existed in Classic WoW, they instead are adding tons of new features to the game, and with that you are not feeling that you are playing Classic WoW, but you're in the Classic WoW world. They added this new feature which is called the rune systems, and with the runes you can add a ton of new abilities to your spec. So if you're playing a mage, now you would be able to use Icy Veins, Ice Lance, Arcane Blast, a lot of new abilities, and even healing. Yeah, like Mage Healer. Blizzard's approach to Season of Discovery was a lot different. Instead of improving the class specs and the talent trees, making all the abilities that already existed in Classic WoW a lot better, or even adding some new features like giving paladins a taunt, they added a lot of new spells that they took from other expansions and added to Classic WoW. Let me use Arcane Mages as an example once again. They didn't give a single buff to Arcane Tree, but they added Arcane Blast, which means the Arcane spec is still trash, but with a busted spell, which is Arcane Blast. You're still weak as an Arcane Mage. However, the Arcane Blast spell is a one spell that changes all the game. So you may put points in the Arcane Tree, but you'll get no benefit because the Arcane Tree don't make you stronger, just in the final levels, and the server cap at launch will be 25. You'll not be able to use Arcane Power, for example. So there's two options. The Arcane Blast will be so much powerful that you'll not need to spec in Arcane to do ton shit of damage, or they are buffing the talent trees and we just don't know yet. And this is not just in Arcane Mages. Like, if you see all the classes, there are tons of new content added to the classes. However, a lot of them just don't make sense. Think about Tank Warlocks. It's a new way to play the class, like tanking Warlock. It's pretty cool. I think it's cool as well. Instead of making the classes better, they are making the classes different and strange, like some things just don't make sense. But I think that these new features they added were not what the community was asking for a Classic Plus. They wanted new content, and Blizzard even gave us a little bit of spoiler in which they showed us Karazhan Crypts, a Scarlet Crusade raid, and even a Normegan raid, I think. But don't you agree that these features that they will release in the future are exactly what we wanted, and a huge part of things that they are adding the community never asked? Who wanted a mage healer? Like, no one wanted. It was a surprise to everybody when they announced it, and it seems fun. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I think I will try a bit. However, I never asked for healing mage in Classic. I've asked for a better Arcane Mage because it was a non-viable spec. So in conclusion, is Season of Discovery Classic Plus? No. Will it be bad though? Absolutely not. Like, I'm so excited to join the World PvP events and spam Living Bomb in all the horde that I find in my way. Frost Nova, Sheep, Pyroblast, Living Bomb, Blast Wave, all that things, and just run away and let all that horde guys exploding themselves, or calling the boys to join the 10-man raid. Even though I'm the PvP guy, not the PvE, is new content, so I want to have this experience. I want to discover the new features they are adding in the world. I want to play everything. But what about you? Will you play Season of Discovery? Do you think Season of Discovery is actually Classic Plus and maybe even better than the idea that Turtle WoW did? Well, leave in the comments below, and I hope to see you all in Season of Discovery. Bye bye!